Hey, hi, hello! This is Sleuthy Teacher, and today we are going to be playing through the second game in the Nancy Drew game series. Stay tuned for danger. This is also the second game I ever played back in 2004 when I was just a pretty young kid. Since I was so young, I definitely struggled with this game the first time I played it, so much so that I ended up giving up on it about halfway through it, and I didn't come back to solve it until, oh gosh, I want to say like a year later or something like that. So lots of time spent wandering the halls of WWB Studio trying to get unstuck. So lots of positive, happy memories with this game for me, and I can't wait to play it with you. So let's go.
Dear Bess, you'll never guess who I'm visiting in New York. Mattie Jensen, your favorite soap star from Light of Our Love. Mattie is renting Aunt Eloise's apartment in New York, and after hearing about my last case, Secrets Can Kill, Mattie called to invite me up here. According to Mattie, Rick Arlen is getting death threats, but he won't go to the police, so she wants me to do some investigation work. Can you imagine anyone not liking Rick Arlen, daytime's cutest hunk? I have a sneaking suspicion, though, that there's more to this case than meets the eye. Call you later, Nancy.
All right, so we are in New York City, the Big Apple, trying to figure out why this soap opera star is getting all sorts of weird notes and threats and all that stuff. So, all right, our journey is going to begin with going to 7226 Lexington Avenue. Let's go.
Come on in, Nancy. The door's open.
All right, so this is where Mattie Jensen lives. She is renting this place from Nancy's Aunt Eloise. And I must say, we know from Secrets Can Kill that Nancy's Aunt Eloise is a high school librarian, and I must question how a high school librarian can own an apartment this close to Central Park on a teacher salary. As a teacher myself, something about that does not quite compute. So, yeah, that's interesting, but honestly, good for her. That is awesome. All right, let's go meet Mattie.
Welcome to New York, Nancy. I'm really glad you could come out here on such short notice.
All right, so this is Mattie Jensen. Fun little side note here for you. I am a teacher, like I just mentioned a little earlier, and my students also have decided that they really love the Nancy Drew series as well, so they have gotten to see pictures of some of the characters and everything like that, and their big takeaway for the characters in this game is that they look like wax figures, which, yeah, they kind of do, but this game came out in 1999, so with that considered, the characters actually look really pretty good, I think. This is Mattie. She is the person that called us in to help solve this case, and yeah, let's visit with her.
I'm happy to help in any way I can. Aunt Eloise told me that someone on the set is getting death threats.
Well, for the past month, my co-star Rick Arlen has been getting these awful death threats. At first, we all shrugged it off. You get the occasional odd letter in this business. But then they started to get weird.
Have you ever received an odd letter?
Oh, I've gotten some odd ones here and there, but nothing like what Rick has been getting. In fact, they're totally bizarre. Not only did he get letters, but somebody sent him a box of poisoned chocolates, a broken watch, and then there's that whole thing with the teleprompter.
So what happened with the teleprompter?
Well, I was reading the teleprompter during a scene with Rick. All of a sudden, my lines read, "You're going to die a horrible death, Rick." At the time, we all thought it was some sick joke, but nobody admitted to doing it.
Tell me about the letters.
Well, the first ones had the letters cut out of magazines, you know, like on a ransom note. They were all signed by someone named B.T. Kaiser. Somehow the news leaked out and the press totally jumped on them. Then they started getting ugly and twisted.
Someone sent him poison chocolates.
Rick's a major chocoholic. His fans and friends are always sending him boxes of candy. But these chocolates were so nasty, Rick spit them out. I've never seen Rick say no to chocolate before.
Did Rick go to the police?
No, and that's the problem. No one is taking any of this seriously, especially Rick. He thinks nothing will ever hurt him. Nancy, I'm running late. I need to get to the studio. Hey, why don't you come over and visit? I'll leave a visitor's pass for you at the security desk. Oh, before I forget, here's a copy of the house keys. I'm always losing my keys, so I've got plenty of copies. I'll write the studio's address on your map. Just catch a taxi cab outside and show them the map. They'll know how to get there.
All right, so that was Mattie. So in typical Mattie fashion, we will see, we visit with her, and she leaves. So let's explore this house, shall we? Absolutely beautiful. I do love this location. It's so pretty. All right, so lots to explore. Here we have a photo album. And I will say, you'll notice in this game, there's a lot less of a focus on puzzles and more of a focus on exploration, which is definitely a difference from the more recent games. But it's still really fun. It's cool to see all that stuff. So lots of pictures of Mattie and Rick. And here we have a remote and a magazine. And remember this character right here. She does appear in another game later on in the series. And here we have a long road to fame. Actress Mattie Jensen says her recent success in daytime drama is a result of hard work and a little help from home. Well, speaking of help from home, if we continue exploring here, there's a letter from home. Let's read it. Mattie, I'm writing this letter because you never call me. You can't be that busy not to phone your own poor mother, can you? I saw your photo on Soap Opera Journal at the store. You'd think that my own daughter would at least send me a copy. I was devastated to see that your picture is so much smaller than Rick's. What makes him more important than you? Darling, you must remember that you are the real star of that show, and it's about time we show the world that you are number one. I will not allow you to ever play second fiddle to that man. Without your talent, he'd be nothing. Remember that. And remember the person who paid for all your acting lessons for all 3 years. Mother. So, a bit of a momager there. We have a note, the 23rd Annual Daytime Soap Opera Gala, however you want to say it. We have a calendar. So, little fun fact, November 13th is circled on the calendar here. This game actually was released on November 13th, 1999, and this is also the date of the first day of this game. So, currently in-game, it is November 13th. So, pretty cool. And then if you click this, that mysterious eye disappears. Not quite sure why they added that function, but it is pretty fun. Couple of drawers to snoop through. Rick, there is so much I want to tell you and confide in you, but I am afraid of where this would lead. I am truly in love with you, but how can I be sure you feel the same way? I think we both know the answer, but I think you refuse to admit it. You refuse to admit you are truly in love with me, and I think that makes you afraid. Afraid of the commitment this would mean. Why must you continue playing the part of the confirmed bachelor, constantly looking for another date? We both know you're not happy with this part, but you still play it. You still play the incurable romantic when all you really want is a lifetime of love. I'm ready for this commitment, and then it trails off. Interesting. So a note to Rick from Mattie. If we look over here, it says, the rose is... oh boy. Awful glare where I'm sitting right now, so it's kind of hard to read this. The rose is thought of love divine, oh be thou my Valentine. Interesting. Then on the back it says, "Dearest Mattie, my love, my one and only, mi amore. You are the sparkle in my eye, the song in my heart, the woman of my dreams. When I hear your soft voice fill the air, it sounds like a chorus of angels, a sound that I am missing right now as I write this. My life is darkened and full of despair without you. I cannot bear the thought of separating from you for more than a second. How I miss the warmth of your smile, the way the light shines through your hair and your eyes. I could gaze into those twin pools of beauty forever. Nothing more would give me such pleasure. I will sadly count the hours until our next rendezvous. Until then, sign me, in love, Rick." Whew. So, Mattie and Rick were absolutely a thing. Here we have a very nice picture of Rick. And
It's locked. It's locked.
a locked drawer. Now, little fun fact. There was supposed to be a key to unlock this drawer, but they forgot to put it in game. Little Jackalope in a Twitch stream of this game actually showed what was supposed to be in it, and it was a bunch of fan letters that were written by Mattie trying to convince Rick to stay on the show. So that's what's in here. Like I said, they forgot to put the key in, which is kind of sad. That would be really cool to see, but I'm glad that we were still able to find out what was in there. So here we have one of the scripts. And if we look over here, it says, "Help me, Nancy." Interesting. All right, let's go over here. We have Chatter Magazine. The last days for Rory Danner. Rumors are rampant that Rick Arlen, light of our loves, Rory Danner, is breaking his contract with Worldwide Broadcasting and is setting his sights on a career in film. Interesting. So Rick is thinking of leaving the show. I mean, look at that. With a face like that, destined for stardom. All right, and here we have some pictures. We have more pictures of Mattie and Rick. And then we have a picture that has Mattie and Rick and a couple other characters. We haven't met them yet, but we will. This is Dwayne Powers and Lillian Weiss. We'll meet them in a bit. And we have a TV. 1999 Annual Soap Opera Star Award, Best Actress Mattie Jensen, light of our love. So Mattie is a highly regarded soap opera star. We have some more pictures over here. Now I will say one of my favorite things that really just makes this game really endearing is that they kind of shamelessly superimposed the character faces over actual photos. It's very obvious, but I think it really does add to the charm of this game. All right, we have a phone over here, and we'll play with that a little later, but right now I really want to go explore Worldwide Broadcasting Studios. So let's go. All right, and here is one of my favorite lines in this game. Check it out.
Taxi!
Where can I take you today, miss?
1999 Broadway, please.
Where can I take you today, miss? So great. All right, so this is Worldwide Broadcasting. And I love the music that we hear in the lobby and throughout the studio. This is so perfect. Here we have Worldwide Broadcasting Directory and a bunch of the different departments here in the building. If this game ever gets a remaster, which I'm holding out hope because I love this game so much, I think it would be really cool to include some of these areas if it's even possible, because how amazing would it be to go and explore the gift shop and get some of the little souvenirs and trinkets that you could get there? Like, how cool would that be? Or go into wardrobe and get to try on some of the pieces that they have in there. I think that would be really cool. But I'm also a sucker for the games that we get to dress Nancy up later in the series. So that could be why I have that opinion. All right, we have a magazine here. A If you don't see this, there might be something missing. Yeah, something is definitely missing, actually. There's some letters missing here. Some more letters over on this side. Interesting. Then if we come over here, we have all of the various stars working in the studio, including Rick and Mattie. And here's the security booth, Mr. Ralph Guardino, the man, the myth, the legend.
Can I help you?
Yes, Mattie Jensen left a visitor's pass for me. It should be listed under Nancy Drew.
Here you are. You'll need to sign for it. You'll need to come to this desk every time you enter so I can log you in. Have a nice day.
What a guy. I love that they added in his character model when really all we have to do is just go in and sign in with him. He's a cool character though. I like Ralph. So here is a portrait of WWB founder Mildred W. Strathorn, and this is a little homage, so to speak, for the ghostwriter of the Nancy Drew series. This is a tribute to Mildred Wirt Benson. She was the original ghostwriter of the Nancy Drew books, and she also gets a special thanks credit in the game. So just a fun little fact there. She's also a super fun character, so since we just looked at her portrait, let's go meet her. We have a Magnum PI-esque headshot there. And let's see the prop room.
It's open! Hello there. Oh, are you a visitor? According to the policy's memo dated July 14th, 1954, no one is permitted in the prop room, except for those people permitted in the prop room. You may want to talk to the director, Lillian Weiss, if you want to become permitted. She likes to do all of the hiring around here. Good day, my dear.
I love Millie. She's so awesome. And you might notice that voice is a little familiar. Lonnie, the voice of Nancy Drew from game 1 all the way up to game 32, also did Millie's voice as well. We have some more headshots here. The doors leading into the studio. Currently we can't go in there though, since it is on air.
I don't care who he is. No one breaks a contract with Bill Pappas. I'll kill him before he runs out on me.
So that's the voice of Bill Pappas, producer for Light of Our Love. And he sounds super stressed. Someone is trying to break a contract with him. We can assume that that's Rick, based off of the magazine article we read in Mattie's apartment, but he doesn't sound very happy about that, for obvious reasons. All right, let's go visit with Mattie.
It's open. Hey, Nancy. Glad you could make it. We'll be shooting soon, so I only have a couple of minutes to chat.
Can you tell me why someone would want to send these threats to Rick?
He's talented, handsome, and rich. Some people would hate him just for that. But Rick wouldn't hurt a fly. I have no idea why someone's trying to scare him with these threats.
So how long have you been a couple?
You mean off-screen or on-screen? You see, Rick and I dated when we were with the touring company for Romeo and Juliet.
Do you think an old flame of yours could be motivated by jealousy to do this to Rick?
Actually, Rick and I are no longer dating. But come to think of it, I do know someone who could be jealous enough of Rick to do something like this. Yuri Danner, Rick's twin brother. I'm sorry, Nancy, it's been a running joke around here. You see, Rick's character has an evil twin, Yuri, and everyone's been saying that it's him who's causing all this trouble. But seriously, I have no idea who could be behind this. Oh, look at the time, I've got to get to makeup. Hey, why don't you come down to the set in a few minutes? I'll be shooting a scene with Rick. In the meantime, make yourself at home.
And she's gone again. But that's okay because now we get to snoop. All right, so Mattie's dressing room. And we have a letter to Mattie. And it is a word search puzzle. Fun little story about this. All the way back when I played this game for the first time. I was pretty young. I was like 11-ish years old, something like that. And I ended up getting super stuck on this game. I could not make any progress. This was before Game Boomers was a thing. So I spent a lot of time just wandering the halls, and at one point I was convinced that there was a clue somewhere in this word search that was going to be the answer to my problem, and I was going to get unstuck. That was not the case. But every time I look at this, it just reminds me of meticulously copying down each line of the word search so that I could do it on an actual piece of paper, because I was so convinced that there was something in this. And I look back on that now and it makes me giggle. All right, so here we have Maddie's makeup counter. Lots of different stuff to look at here. Various lipsticks. We have a headshot of Rick. We have photo booth pictures of Mattie and Rick. It looks like we can't look at them up close, but it does definitely look like them. And we have some stage bills and a lipstick. So there's two ways we could look at this. One way is that something happened on purpose to destroy this lipstick. Maybe it was used for writing a note, or maybe something like that. Or there's the other way of looking at this, which is that Mattie was applying lipstick, and it's called Raspberry Red, and she was really hungry. It had been a long day, and, it was called Raspberry. She was hungry. She took a bite out of it. Or she was putting on lipstick and she sneezed. So, like I said, two ways of looking at this. I will let you draw your own conclusions on what happened to that lipstick. Thank you to anyone that just gave me a sympathy laugh for that joke. You are so appreciated. All right, and here we have a edition of the Manhattan Chronicle. Arlen's possible departure leads to ratings questions, and 3 clowns injured. Elephants trample peanut vendor. Oh man, that sounds like serious business. What can I say? Elephants, man, they're nuts. All right, and here we have a love note in French, and I would try to read this, but I only had very minimal experience with French in middle school, so it's been a hot minute. I am not going to try to read this because I 100% know I will not say it correctly, and I'm not going to embarrass myself, and I'm not going to make you sit through me trying to do that. But remember some of these phrases because we will potentially see them later in the game. And maybe one of the most important things to see in Maddie's dressing room is actually right here. I'm not going to say why, but it is important to note that this page is marked in yellow. Then we have some words circled in red. We have what looks like a coffee stain. There's 2 types of thought for this color. It's either brown or it's brown orangish. If you get that reference, thank you. You're awesome. And here we have some text circled in blue. So yeah, seems completely random that that's there, but I promise it will be important later. You can choose to not note that and actually completely miss it, but then a puzzle later in the game is going to be an absolute blast. If you know, you know. Here we have a note to Mattie. It says, "Dear Mattie, I'm writing to tell you what a big fan I am of the show. Serena Livingston is my favorite character on Light of Our Love, and I haven't missed a single show since I started watching it last year. Even my mom watches the show, and she hardly watches television. Recently, I read an interesting article about your career in the Manhattan TV Guide. I was wondering what you meant when you said, 'I used to think that acting was a big competition.' In what way was being an actress competitive to you? I'm asking because you have always seemed so sweet on all the TV talk shows that you've been on. It's so hard to imagine you being one of those competitive soap actors who only want to get ahead and be #1 lead all the time. I know how busy you are, but I hope you can write back to one of your biggest fans. I'm looking forward to, and then it cuts off. So, some fan mail there. And here we have MJ for Mattie Jensen. A mask of sweet serenity, a cloak of loving kindness meant to sway the heart to trust and fill the eyes with blindness. Interesting. And here we have some jewelry and Rick's cell phone number. And here we have a puzzle. So this is a completely optional puzzle, I believe. I don't think you actually have to solve this puzzle in order to finish the game. But like I said earlier, this game is more focused on exploration than puzzles, just like the very first game. So there aren't a whole lot, and me being a puzzle girl, I do enjoy putting this together just for funsies. So let's get, whoop, too far. Get everything turned here. And with these older games, it's very particular on where you need to have the cursor in order to get things to work. But that's all right. All right, let's just get the corner pieces or the edge pieces where they need to be first. And then we'll go from there. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so let's see here. I don't know if that was right. We'll see. Okay, that must be right. I do like that you can bring the pieces down and kind of overlap it to check and see if it's in the right spot. That is very handy. Okay. So this is however over. Okay, there we go. Now the real fun begins. Have to get all the pieces where they belong. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. Actually, I don't think that's the right one. Let's see here. There should be another. There it is. Okay. It never fails. You get a puzzle like this, and suddenly it becomes a what are words? What is reading? Or maybe that's just me. Let's see here. I'm trying to do this relatively quickly, and I think that's just putting a little pressure on me. Let's see here. Don't want to take too overwhelmingly long. Let's see here. Oh, and I feel like I just saw that piece that I needed. Where is it? There it is. Out. Like this. Trust me on this. We both know what needs to be done. Taking the steps drastic. There it is. To see. Is it this one? Yep, it is. That it is finished. As we discussed, everything calms down. We can be together. There we go. All right, so here we have a torn up note. Sorry that it has to work out like this, but there is no choice at the moment. You must trust me on this. We both know what needs to be done, and I am taking the steps, however drastic, to see that it is finished as we discussed. I just need your support. When this all blows over and everything calms down, we can be together. All right. So that's pretty much everything to see in Maddie's dressing room. She did say that we can go into the studio to see her film a scene with Rick, and I don't know about you, but after seeing that Maddie has multiple acting awards and Rick is so highly regarded, I am super excited to see two just phenomenal actors record a scene. It's going to be great. Let's do it.
I need something to make this work. Places, everyone. Are we locked in?
Yes, Miss Weiss, we're clear to shoot.
Have we blocked this already?
Yes, I think.
Quiet on the set.
Is the floor ready?
Check.
Audio. Check.
Roll tape.
Stand by, camera 1.
Stand by music.
Take camera 1.
Rory, I have to talk to you.
I don't want to see you, Serena.
No, Rory, don't go. I love you.
I don't want to see you, Serena.
Sheesh! What was that? I could have been killed! Get my agent on the phone, now!
Clear him out, everybody.
Looks like that's a wrap for today.
So how about that acting, huh? Just absolutely awe-inspiring. So great. I love how corny that dialogue is. Oh my gosh, it makes me so happy. So here we have what looks like a sawed-off light clamp. Interesting. Especially when we consider that it was a light that just fell. We have a clock here that's missing a hand. And here we can see the teleprompter. Rory, I have to talk to you. I don't want to see you, Serena. No, Rory, don't go. Your time is running out, Rick Arlen. You better kiss your career and your life goodbye because the end is near. There we go. A little dramatic reading for you. All right, let's see here. Lots of other things to see. Since this is an earlier game, some of the navigation is kind of goofy. It's more noticeable in some areas than others, especially in this area specifically. In order to get to certain areas, you kind of have to navigate. Kind of funny. Here we have some magazines and some camera blocking notes for a scene. See, like right here, trying to find. There we go. We can turn here. All right. And if we go over this way, we have steps that go up to the production booth. Not going to go there quite yet. Then a fun little snippet. I'm not going to do this because I don't want to have to completely restart a pretty good chunk of the game. But there is a end game sequence that is pretty fun. You can pull the fire alarm right here and it will put you back all the way to before that cutscene. So it does set you back quite a ways. But it is kind of fun. Like I said, though, I'm personally not going to do that because that scene was so perfect the first time. We don't need to see it a second time. It's fine. It'll be good. All right. So now that they are done filming and all that stuff, we can meet another character. This is Lillian Weiss, the director, and she is, well, I'll let you see for yourself.
May I help you? Yes, hi. I'm a friend of Mattie's, and Do I look like a tour guide? Look, the set's closed to visitors. I'll need to take your pass away. But if it's any consolation, I'll be more than happy to show you the door.
Yeah, isn't she just the sweetest? Absolute ray of sunshine. All right, so the problem is she just took our visitor's pass, which means now we cannot get back into the recording studio. Also, if we were to go outside and try to come back in, we would have no way to get back into the studio, which is a problem because...
What kind of studio are you running here? My client could have been killed.
I told you I'd get to the bottom of this. I've already closed the set to visitors.
It's a problem because we're Nancy and we need to snoop some more. So obviously, we need full access to this place. But yeah, okay, so we have a agent in there arguing with William Pappas over what had just happened, and you'll recognize that voice a little bit later. It is an agent to one of the two stars that was just in that scene. All right, so now we could talk with Mattie, or we could talk with Rick. Let's visit with Mattie first.
It's open. Oh, Nancy, this is horrible. There's no way that could have been an accident. I think it's another attempt to get Rick. The timing's just too weird. All of these threats, and now he's almost killed on stage. I'm too upset to deal with this. I gotta get out of here. I need some space. We'll talk later.
And she's gone again. You know, if acting never works out for her, she would be a fantastic magician.
Entrez-vous.
All right, now let's meet him. The man, the myth, the legend, Rick Arlen.
Hello, gorgeous. Where have you been all my life?
River Heights?
Touché. So, you're an old friend of Mattie's. She told me you were coming up to visit. She said you find me irresistible.
Well, you know how Mattie exaggerates.
Don't I know it? She's been driving me crazy worrying about me and these wacky letters I've been getting.
I would think poison chocolates are a bit beyond wacky, wouldn't you say?
Poison chocolates? Oh dear, Mattie's really gone over the top with this. They were just a bad batch, that's all. Look, if you dare me, I'll eat one. But if we're gonna play that game, I'd prefer another dare. So, how about it, Nancy? Truth or dare?
Okay, truth.
Admit it. You find me irresistible, don't you, Nancy?
Irresistible is not exactly the word I'd use to describe you, Rick.
Oh, you're no fun. Well, mi casa es su casa. You know, my house is your house. Well, feel free to examine the evidence, Miss Drew, while I go off the wardrobe. Have a chocolate while you're at it. Stay beautiful.
I love how he says have a chocolate when we literally just discussed that they're poisoned. What? All right, so yeah, that is the heartthrob Rick Arlen. What a guy. Just, ugh, what a guy. I think in all my texts that I send now, I'm just going to say, stay beautiful. Just to see what people do. All right, so here we have some 3D glasses. The Hamptons, me and my gal. Also, I just want to point out, really, that many buttons unbuttoned seems a bit aggressive, don't you think? Ugh, anyway, I digress. All right, and we have some other stuff in here. We can't pick it up, though. And there's actually a lot to find in here. Like, it's been covered multiple times. Rick's been getting a lot of threatening notes, and we can actually see a lot of them in here. So, leave light of our love or else. BT Kaiser. I'm tracking your every move. Watch out! I'm right behind you. BT Kaiser. And here we have one that looks a little different. If you won't be mine, you won't be anybody's. And it's all scratched out. Interesting. You know, I feel like I've seen this color before. And it's definitely not pen. And it doesn't look like marker. So, I wonder what else could be used to write a message like that. Interesting. Anywho, we have some more notes over here. I'm going to get you, Rick. Your days as Rory Danner are numbered. BT Kaiser. Your time is running out. And there's a broken watch, which is another one of the threatening notes Mattie mentioned. Now, this one looks a little different. This one is not written out with cutout magazine letters. This one is typewritten. It says, Rick, do you think that I'm stupid? You sent your boat to Upstate Cabin. I know where that is. And I know where your 5th Avenue penthouse is. I even know the access code. Change it. That won't stop me. Because one day I'll meet up with you. There's no escaping my wrath. I'm much nearer than you think. Pretty ominous. And the Y is typeset lower than everything else. Interesting. Here we have one of those fun little brain teaser puzzles that the first 2 games were pretty notorious for. Here we have a railroad cipher here, so you read it by swapping up and down to create a message. Let's see if I can do this quickly. One motive which deserves mention, a simple hoax for pure attention. Interesting. Wish we could turn this radio on. That would be cool. All right, so here we have those chocolates that were poisoned, Suppressa chocolates. If we open it up, we'll see that it spells out, "Die, Rick." Pretty spooky. And here we have a note. Now, it's worth mention that this note does not match any of the other notes that we have seen thus far in Rook's dressing room, but let's read it. "How do I loathe thee? Let me count the ways. I loathe thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul could reach. I want you out of sight. For the ends of vanity and ideal conceit, I loathe thee to the level of every day's most quiet need by sun and candle flame. I loathe thee freely as you strive for fame. I loathe thee purely as you cannot turn from praise. I loathe thee with a passion to put use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I loathe thee with a hate I seem to lose with my better dates. I loathe thee with the breath, smile, tears of all my life. And if it comes to pass, I shall only love thee well after your death." Oof. Over here, we have a note. "Scared you, didn't I? Good, because this was just a dress rehearsal. Only my revenge is truly sweet, Rick Arlen, so prepare for your long and bitter end." So once again, it's typewritten. Y is still dropped. And here we have Floral Express. "Dead roses." Oof. That is chilling. And here we have some framed magazine covers of Rick. Here we have him. He's the man of the year. And people to watch. "Rick's alive!" Another typewritten note. "Dear Mr. Arlen, I just want to write you and tell you how much of a fan I am of yours, a fan of your impending doom. I can't wait until that fateful moment as I watch you squirm and beg for mercy, but I won't give it. You don't deserve it, you coward. And don't think that I'm not serious. I'm serious enough to keep a close eye on you. How did you enjoy your meal at Blake's last night with that trashy woman from Nash's Cove? You ordered a red wine with your halibut, you fool. And then you fell asleep in box 42 watching Soft Shoe. The night ended with a taxi ride to your boat in Slip 83. Afraid that I know of your secret hideaway? Maybe one day it'll sink with you in it. A fanatic." Oof. Obviously, the most chilling thing about this entire note is that he ordered red wine with his halibut? The horror. Oh, absolutely chilling. And one more note here. "It's me, your faithful fanatic, or am I now a lunatic? That's what you called me yesterday with your little group of followers. It's just one big joke to you, isn't it? Yes, Rick, it's a joke, and I'll be happy to deliver the punchline right in your face." Oof. So, someone clearly is out to get Rick. Very chilling. That's all there really is to see here. So, now that we lost our badge and Maddie's gone, let's go back to Maddie's apartment and see if we can find some other way to get back into the studio.
Hey, taxi!
Where to, lady?
7226 Lexington Avenue, please.
On my way.
On my way! All the taxi drivers in this game are just awesome.
Hi, Nancy. I'm sorry for skipping out on you like that. I guess I'm not a very good hostess. It's just that this whole thing with Rick really shook me up.
I just ran into Lillian, and she kicked me out of the studio.
Yeah, Lillian's pretty cranky these days. Wait a minute. I've got an idea on how you can get back into the studio. You know, my agent could get you a job as an extra so you could get on the set. You don't have to do anything. They just need to have people standing by.
Really? Who is your agent?
Dwayne Powers. We've been friends for years. I'll give Dwayne a call first thing tomorrow. Just stop by there in the morning. I'll tell him you're an old family friend who's decided to try out acting as a career.
Would you do that? That'd help me get past Lillian and hopefully to the bottom of these threats against Rick.
Yeah, I should get back to learning my lines for tomorrow. Good luck.
And she's gone again. Okay, so Mattie is going to get us an appointment with her agent. Get us back into the building. Awesome. So let's go do that.
Taxi!
Yeah, what's the address?
318 West 10th Street, please.
You got it.
Okay, so here's a little headphone warning for you. If you are listening to this with headphones or you have your volume turned up, maybe consider turning it down. This is absolutely ear splitting. I do not know why they decided to do that this way. But once we're in the building, it will be fine. But getting in is a very loud ordeal. So protect your eardrums. Here we go.
Go away. Don't you understand?
Mr. Powers, Mattie Jensen sent me to see you about a job as an extra.
I'm sorry. I'm in Suite 101. Come in.
Okay, we're in. Yeah, I do not know why those tones have to be so unbelievably shrill and ear-splitting, but oh my goodness. Okay, so here we are, Suite 101, Powers Talent, the Dwayne Powers, owner and talent agent. Here we go.
Come in. I apologize for my abrupt greeting. You must understand that if I opened my door to every struggling actor in this town, I'd never be able to get my work done.
I'll be happy to meet with your assistant if you're too busy.
Actually, I am in need of an assistant at this moment. I had to terminate my previous secretary. I'm afraid that my standards are rather high for most people.
I'm a friend of Mattie Jensen. She told me you might be able to get me a job as an extra on Light of Our Love.
Ah, yes. Mattie just called me. You're Nancy Drew, am I correct? Mattie spoke highly of your abilities, and I am more than happy to give a young actor a chance, if I can. Normally I don't do this, but seeing that you're a friend of Mattie's, I could pull some strings for you. You see, Worldwide uses me almost exclusively for hiring their talent. Not only did I provide them with Mattie Jensen, but Rick Arlen as well.
You're Rick Arlen's agent?
Yes, I was. But I must confess that the man has no talent. Were it not for his good looks and charm, he'd never have gotten to where he is now. You see, Rick foolishly believes acting is a status symbol, not an art form. He's a ladder climber who'll use anyone to crawl his way to the top. A ladder he's sure to fall from one of these days. Well, Nancy, you must be anxious to start this assignment. I'll call right now and have a pass waiting for you at the reception desk. Now, if you'll please excuse me, I must get back to work. It was a pleasure meeting you. Please call on me for any other needs you may have.
So that's Dwayne. Clearly, he is not Rick Arlen's biggest fan. Interesting. All right, so now we have officially been hired on for Powers Talent. So now we can go back to Worldwide Broadcasting, pick up our new pass, and be able to explore a little more. Let's go.
Taxi!
Where can I take you today, miss?
1999 Broadway, please.
Where can I take you today, miss? All right. I also want to point out that we can meet Rick Arlen in person. Meet in person. Rick Arlen of Light of Our Love. 3 o'clock to 4:30 Friday, November 20th, Worldwide Broadcasting Lobby. I do find it entertaining that they were allowing a meet and greet for a star that has been receiving all of those threatening notes. Like, that seems highly insensitive. But what do I know? All right, let's pick up our pass.
Can I help you?
Hi, I've been hired as an extra by the Powers Agency.
Here you are. You'll need to sign for it. You'll need to come to this desk every time you enter so I can log you in. Thank you, and good luck.
All right, and we're in. So now that we have a pass, we can do one of two things. We can go pester Lillian some more because she can't fire us now. Or we can go visit with Millie again. And I think we're going to pester Lillian first because it'll go just a little quicker. So here we go.
Ah, I see Mattie's friend is now working as an extra for us. So, are you trying to get discovered or are you just hard up for a job?
I'm working with Dwayne Powers' agency. I heard he's a really good agent.
Oh, please. Don't get your hopes up too high. It's not like you're working for commercial artists or Edison Talent. We use Dwayne whenever we need someone right away, usually extras or gophers. If we really need talent, we call someone else.
Okay, so I think that bit of dialogue is really interesting. So what she's saying is if they want good talent, they go elsewhere. But Mattie works for that talent agent, so is Lillian shadily saying that Mattie Jensen is not a good actress? I don't know. We saw her acting earlier. You be the judge. Is she accurate on that, or is she just being rude?
I thought you might be interested to know that I found a light clamp on the set. It looked as if it had been sawed off. That was no accident on the set. It was a deliberate attempt on Rick's life.
Well, it looks like we've got ourselves a little Miss Sherlock Holmes on the set. Look, we didn't hire you to play junior detective, so don't be sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, okay?
Well, I'll let you get back to your business.
You do that.
You do that. All right, let's go into the prop room.
I need something to make this work.
Or not, because the
I need something to make this work.
doorknob is gone. Interesting. Okay. Apparently we were just a little too slow to get there. Now if we look here, the doors are closed, so the studio is now closed. It closes at 6. We'll see if Mattie and Rick are still here.
It's open. Hi, Nancy. Glad to see Dwayne could get you a job as an extra. Who knows, maybe you'll be the next Serena Livingston.
As if. I'm lucky if I can remember my stage left from my stage right. Dwayne was very helpful. I can't believe he got me a part, just like that.
Dwayne's a great guy. He gave me a chance when no one in this town would even give me the time of day.
I don't think Dwayne likes Rick very much.
Actually, the feeling's mutual. Dwayne was Rick's agent and helped him get the part of Rory Danner. But later on, Rick ditched him to go with a larger agency. I guess to help him get out of his contract here.
Interesting. So Rick ditched Dwayne. Might be a reason for some of that animosity.
Well, I'll see you later, Mattie.
Break a leg.
All right. And Rick is gone. Okay, so let's go back to the apartment. Now, notice we have different music playing now. That's because this is the nighttime sequence of the game. So now we have this very suspenseful music playing.
Hey, taxi!
Where to, lady?
7226 Lexington Avenue, please.
On my way.
All right, and we are back. Now, if we look over here, I don't know if it's too late to call, but we can try. So it says, Nancy, while you are out, Ned called. He asked me to tell you to call him the first chance you get. By the way, he sounds cute. Mattie. All right, so let's call Ned.
Hello?
Guess who?
Nancy! First you leave me to visit your aunt in Florida, and now you're in New York. By the time you get back to River Heights, I'll be an old man.
That's okay. I'll still love you.
Even if I'm bald and wearing dentures?
No way.
Uh-oh. Well, I hate to tell you this, but the guys on the team all shaved their heads, and I just got a tooth knocked out last week in practice. but I know you'll still love me. So, Hannah told me about the investigation you're working on. Sounds neat, but kind of dangerous. Anything I can help you out with?
I finally met the Rick Arlen. That man has an ego the size of Texas. He's worse than Daryl Gray.
I'm not sure I like you jet-setting across the country meeting all of these Enrico Suaves. So, are these threats he's been getting serious?
The threats are, but Rick's not. He's pretty nonchalant about them.
Huh, that's odd. Maybe there's more to the threats than he's saying. There might be some information in them that he doesn't want you to know about. So, what else can I help you out with?
Guess what? I got a look at the letters Rick has been getting. Some of them have the letters cut out of magazines, and some of them are typewritten. But get this, the Y is dropped on the typewritten letters.
Sounds like two different MOs. But what a clue! Now if you can only find the typewriter that drops its Y. So, what else can I help you out with?
I think that's it for now. I miss you.
I miss you too. Goodbye.
So that is Ned. You will notice that it is a different voice actor for Ned in this game than all of the other games in the series. Since we're here, let's see if we can call Nancy's other friends. I don't know if they'll answer or not, but we can try.
Hi, you've reached Bess Marvin. I can't come to the phone right now, but please leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Okay, so Bess did not answer. I don't think George will either, but we can try.
This is George Fain. After the tone, please leave your name, phone number, and a brief message. Thanks.
Okay, that's what I thought. So if you continue to check the notepad over here, Mattie will leave notes saying that Bess and George have also called and you need to return their call. It's interesting that you can't talk to them before that, but it also could just be that it's 7 o'clock. So when I first played this game, this is a part that I really got stuck on. So when you enter into the house, you look at the hallway like this, right? And you can rotate around. Now, something that's worth noting, you have to see something that's really only in, I think, maybe 2 frames in this room. So you can kind of see it here. You can really see it here. You can kind of see it there, and then it's gone. I was wrong. It's 3 frames. If you miss what is on this chair, you will not progress. You will be stuck. And it is a note to Nancy. It says, Nancy, I hope you are enjoying your trip to New York. I thought you might find this tape of interest in your case. It's a TV interview with Rick Arlen on a soap opera news show. You know, for a young lad, he's quite fetching. Take care and be careful, Nancy. With love, Hannah. It is a tape. So yeah, like I said, if you do not see that tape, you will not progress. You will be stuck. Now, since it's nighttime, we have a nice, lovely fire lit. I will give HerInteractive huge props for this being the second game in the entire Nancy Drew game series. I think they did a really good job with the daytime-nighttime cycle of this game. It's really fun. It does add, I think, quite a bit to this game. I genuinely love it so much. All right, let's check out this tape.
I need something to make this work.
We're here on the set at Worldwide Broadcasting Studios with soap heartthrob Rick Arlen. The studios are abuzz with talk that you may be heading for a career in films. Will Rory Danner be killed off the show?
Rory is a character who is dear to my heart. I never put him in a life-threatening situation. I'll leave that to the writers.
Well, how could anyone in their right mind leave such a gorgeous co-star, Mattie Jensen? Is it true that your on-stage love affair has led to an off-stage romance?
Only my hairdresser knows for sure.
Weren't you seen with that actress Greta Von Kamloops at Cannes earlier this year? Any chance you may be starring in a film with her in the near future?
Oh no, not while I'm with the WWB network.
Our sources say that you've been a victim of a stalker. Is that true?
Well, yes, in a sense. I feel like I'm being watched at every moment, and always at the same time. Weekdays from 2 to 3 on Channel 13.
Oh, Rick.
Oh, Rick. What a guy. Okay, so it's really all we can do for this day of the game. Also, really quickly, I want to point out NDTV. Love it. All right, so now we are going to switch to daytime so we can continue investigating. Here we go. Turn night to day or day to night. The choice is yours for darkness or light. Choose the path you decide to take, for only you can decide your fate. I don't know who decided take and fate rhyme, but it was a creative choice for sure. All right, here we go. Let's go back to Worldwide Broadcasting.
Taxi!
Where can I take you today, miss?
1999 Broadway, please.
Okay. So now let's go ahead and sign in.
Can I help you?
Hello, here's my pass.
Hello, Ms. Drew. Thank you. You may proceed.
All right. So there's two different things we could do right now. We could go and talk to Rick about the interview we just watched the previous night in game, or we can go to the prop room and see if we can talk to Millie, since by the time we got there in the previous day, the doorknob was gone and we couldn't get in. You have to be careful if you are facing this situation, because if you go to see Rick first, you're going to encounter problems. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil anything. Just a little pro tip. Also speaking from experience, because the first time I played this game, I definitely did that. And it was a big problem. So let's go ahead and talk to Millie first. The doorknob is here, so is she. Let's go.
It's open! Yes, my dear.
I need to get something for Mattie from the prop room.
I see. Well, I don't just let anyone enter my prop room without showing me that they're clever enough to take on the responsibility. Listen to my riddle, and when you know the correct answer, I'll let you in. When you look at my face, it's easy to see. You're looking at you when you're looking at me. What am I?
Okay, so in order to get into the prop room, we have to answer Millie's riddle. Something that I discovered that I thought was really, really fun, and I don't know how well known this is known, but there is actually two different answers to this specific riddle. You can put mirror, or they also, I think it has to be a little reference to Rick Arlen's character having an evil twin on the show, because you can also type in twin.
Oh, that was pretty easy.
And it also accepts it.
Another one. Soft as a petal that falls from a tree. The more I dry, the wetter I'll be. What am I?
Okay, so this would be a towel.
Very good. Let's see if you can answer one more. I run all day and never walk. I tell you something, but I do not talk. What am I?
And that would be a clock.
That's it. I have stumped many people with my riddles, but you are quite the sleuth. You may go and enter the prop room now, while I go and unpowder my nose.
All right, so now we have access to the prop room. So let's investigate here. Okay, so first things first, if we go over here, we can pick up this specific doorknob, and now we will be able to get into the prop room regardless of if Millie is there or not, which is super handy if we need to come back in and grab something for whatever reason. Okay, so here we have another puzzle. And honestly, I think this is one of my favorite puzzles from this game. It says, move the rings over one by one. Your moves can always be undone. Smaller ones must go first. Large over small is an instant curse. Move the rings to another side. With success, the key will unhide. So you have to move the rings from this side to this side, And the smallest ones always have to be up on top. You cannot put a bigger one on top of a smaller one. So let's go ahead and do that. Try that again. There we go. And we've got it. Okay, so here we have a clock piece. There we go. And there is one other thing that we absolutely have to look at or it will lock the game. It is not this. We're just looking at this for fun. But it is right here. Also, speaking from experience, I missed this piece and I got ridiculously stuck. So looking at this, it looks like a map. The Voyage of M. Strathorn, maybe a descendant of Millie Strathorn. And you could look at it and see that there is a little phrase that goes around. When gates are locked and paths are blocked, then look for other ways. Yeah, I can't read upside down this morning with, oh, there we go, maybe. The answer lies beneath your eyes. There we go, it's easier to read that way. To this perplexing gaze. There we go. When gates are locked and paths are blocked, then look for other ways. The answer lies beneath your eyes to this perplexing gaze. So there you go. We got it. All right. So looking at this map here, what you need to notice is there's something poking out under this corner. Oh, I actually didn't know we could get that without lifting it up. You need these. You absolutely need these. If you do not have these, you can't make any progress. All right, so let's explore a little bit. We have big pipes. And this room also has a lot of really fun little Easter eggs for some of the other games. This very much reminds me of the coats of arms for Curse of Blackmore Manor. And I believe we see something similar to this in Ransom of the Seven Ships. Little crossword puzzle here. So discovered, that would be found. Sinister warnings, that would be threat, or threats, I should say. Device used to catch something. That would be right here. Don't know what that is quite yet. Violent anger, wrath. Timepiece, that would be clock. We have lock, stock and barrel, and pieces or fragments would be broken. Loss of life would be death. 3, that would be lost and found. Use caution. That would be beware. So B-E-W-A. So T-R-A. Let's see here. Device used to catch something. Oh, it would be a tray. There we go. Let's see here. Use caution, beware. Look at this. That would be watch. Atom is 1. Yep. Bomb. Haven't got a clue, which is a fun little Easter egg to a character that we will meet in Curse of Blackmore Manor. And a lock unlocker. That would be a key. I find it really interesting, all of the little snippets that they have in this game for games that are well beyond it. Like Curse of Blackmore Manor is quite a few games after this one, actually. So here we have Stay Tuned for Danger. And a fire helmet. That's pretty fun. And I don't know if we can look at anything specifically. Oh, here we have a mailbox. And a letter. It says, Dear Mrs. Strathhorn, it's time again for our annual celebrity auction for the Hollow Oak Children's Home, which will be held at Blackwood Hall on December 27th. We would appreciate any items you care to donate from the famous set of Light of Our Love. Last year's donations were quite popular and raised much needed funding for the home. May we suggest Serena Livingston's ivory charm, given to her by Rory Danner, or perhaps Serena's spider sapphire pin worn on their first date. Would you be willing to donate the brass-bound trunk from the original Light of Our Love set? We're sure it would be a very valuable addition to the auction. Thank you in advance for your donations. On another note, we are all big fans of Mattie Jensen and hope that the rumors about Rick Arlen's departure won't cancel the show. Warm regards, Hyacinth Larkspur. So looking for pieces donated and also mentioning rumors that the show may be canceled if Rick leaves. All right, so here we have authorized personnel. We can see there's something in there, but it is locked. We cannot get in. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that. Fun little Easter egg here. We can see HerInteractive's logo on that skateboard. We have a dragon and a Aladdin lamp. Super cool. Here we have an oil can. We will need that. And a spider. All right. And we have one more little area over here we can investigate. We have an old radio and a jewelry box, which shows some of the pieces that Hyacinth was asking Millie to donate for that auction. All right, so one last place that we simply must investigate before we continue. As I try to find how to navigate here. There we go. It is back behind Millie's desk. So let's check this out. So here we have, on this side, we have a letter number cipher. I'm not going to solve it right now because it's not necessary in order to solve the game. But if you wanted to solve it yourself for funsies, you count to the 13th letter in the alphabet, and you would write that number, and the first letter, and write that number, and by the time you're done, you have a little message. I do this code in my classroom with my students, just as a fun little brain teaser to keep them busy, and they absolutely love it. But the problem is, once they learn how to do that, then everything that they send to me or write to me is coded. Which is great because they're doing that, but then it leads to me having to decode 23 messages or more a day. So that's fun. All right, so it says, from the desk of Millie Strathhorn, proper missing items. We have a fake beard and mustache, black, spirit gum adhesive, 1 bottle, maracas, 1 pair, 3D glasses, an alarm clock, a hacksaw, a letter opener, and a tape recorder. Well, we have one of those right now. Here are the 3D glasses. And one other thing to note here. If we lift up the corner, it says Millie WWB 1958. It's important to note. All right, so that's it for that. And here we have a typewriter. Let's check it out.
The typewriter drops its Y.
Okay, so Nancy points out that the typewriter drops its Y, which if we think back to the typewritten notes that we found in Rick Arlen's dressing room, the Y is also dropped. So we can deduce that this is the typewriter that our culprit is using to write out these notes. And if we look here, some of the keys are faded. So yeah, it's important to note that that typewriter is what is being used, because if you think back to the spiel that Millie told us when we entered the first time, no one is permitted in the prop room at any time except for those people permitted in the prop room. So that means that the person that is sending these threats has to be someone that works at the studio, otherwise Millie does not give them access. So that is a big clue to who our culprit is.
It's you again. What do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry for bothering you. I'll leave right away.
You do that.
Ever the ray of sunshine. All right, so We investigated in the prop room, and actually we picked up a couple items that we can use here. So let's do that now, since it's on the way.
I need something to make this work.
There we go. I don't know why I can never get that to work correctly on the first try. It's gotta be some type of talent, I'm convinced. All right, so if we look at this clock, we can very faintly see that there is a faded line pointing toward the 11, and that is a little clue that we are supposed to take this clock hand that we got and put it towards the 11. You can also do this by guess and check, but it just means that you're probably going to end up listening to broken clock noises at least a couple of times. But now we have a key. All right, and one other thing that we can do in here before we continue on our way is go over here and use the oil can. And I believe this is actually optional. I don't think you have to go up here, but it does have a really cool clue. So if you go up here, it brings us to the catwalk that goes over the set. And if we go all the way down to the end and we look, we can see there is a torn piece of plaid fabric that is stuck to the lights, which is important to note because we did have that falling light that almost clobbered Rick. So there's a good chance that the person that sabotaged the light was wearing this shirt and it got caught and it ripped. So there we go. Get that done. Now the key that we got from the clock can be used to open this area right here. There's nothing we can do with it right now though, because we can't see what's right here. But this will be important later. All right, so that is all we can do here on the soundstage. So now let's go. And I don't know if Mattie has anything to tell us. Let's see.
It's open.
Probably not.
Have you found anything out yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I should get back to learning my lines for tomorrow. Good luck.
Yeah, so nothing from Mattie, but let's see if we can talk to Rick about that interview we watched.
Hello?
So the door creaks, it swings open, and no one answers. Nothing suspicious about that. All right, so we enter. There is suspenseful music. Die, Rick! What? Here we have a note that says, play me.
Hello, Rick. Don't try to lie the way. The door's locked. Didn't you get my first warning? Somewhere in this room is an explosive device that will blow your bird to smithereens. Maybe too bad your debut out there will be.
Alright, so what that note says is, hello, Rick. Didn't you get my first warning? Somewhere in this room is an oh, wait, no, maybe that's not it. Now I have to listen to it again.
Hello, Rick. Don't try to lie the way. The door's locked. Didn't you get my first warning?
Okay.
Somewhere in this room is an explosive device that will blow your bird to smithereens. Maybe too bad your debut out there will be.
Okay, I missed a line. So it's, hello, Rick. Don't try leaving the room. The door's rigged. Somewhere in this room is an explosive device. Oh, I got that wrong again. Somewhere in this room, there's an explosive device that will blow your body to smithereens, maybe all the way to Hollywood. Too bad your debut will be. And then also in there, it asks, didn't you get my first warning? Ugh, I was really hoping I could quote that word for word on the first try, but it's too early. Not enough caffeine. All right, so remember how I said we needed to note the colors that we saw in the script in Maddie's room? This is why we needed to note that. You could do random guess and check, but it will blow up if you guess wrong, or you can use the colors found in Maddie's script. So first is yellow, then it is red, then it's orange, and then it's blue. And there we go. Was that stressing you out that the time was ticking down?
It was pretty scary for a minute there.
And then what happened?
Once I defused the bomb and got out of there, I called the police, and I was stuck at the station for hours. They searched the dressing room and sent the bomb off to the crime lab. but they didn't find anything. Oh, and remind me to thank Chief McGinnis when I get back home. He vouched for me when I asked for a copy of the tape.
It sounds like things have gotten way out of control.
Oh, Ned, I've got another call. It's probably the police. I love you, and I promise I'll be careful. Call you later, okay?
Okay.
Hello, Miss Drew. This is Bill Pappas, the producer for Light of Our Love. I just wanted to thank you for your quick thinking and valiant efforts today. I understand that you've been detained at the police department.
All right, so now we get to talk to Bill Pappas and get some more information from him.
Yes, I was. They needed a statement from me.
What type of information?
All right, so you have to be really, really careful for this part. If you pick the wrong answer, he will actually hang up on you and you don't get to have a conversation with him. And that's this one right here. If you were to have picked the other dialogue option, there actually is a really cool little Easter egg hidden in there. Nancy can say that she is a reporter undercover named Brenda Carlton, which is a character that we will meet in a later game. But these are our two options. If you want to continue talking to Pappas, you have to choose this one.
Information about the bomb and what I found in the dressing room. Can I ask who has access to Mr. Arlen's dressing room?
Only Rick and the security personnel. We've already checked into this. Rick is very touchy about his room and won't even let the janitors clean it unless he's there.
That's odd. Has he always been this way?
Yes, Rick's very controlling like that. It took us weeks to renegotiate his contract. He had all of these detailed demands, like about lighting, script direction, the placement of his name in the credits. He's unbearable at times. Listen, I need to get back to work. Do you need anything else?
Can you think of anyone on the staff who has skills in explosives or electronics?
We definitely do not use explosives on our set. We use outside pyrotechnicians for location shoots. And of course, all of our technical crew are very knowledgeable about electronics. But I couldn't picture any of them making a bomb.
Are there many temporary employees working at the studio?
Yes, but all of our employees, either temps or permanent, are highly qualified and come from the best agencies. We don't hire just anyone, and we carefully screen our employees.
Do you believe someone from outside the studio could have done this?
That's impossible. This set has been closed down tight since that accident. I even hired extra security. My own mother couldn't have gotten in here.
Is there video surveillance of the dressing room?
We're currently working with the police on that, but there are no security cameras in the dressing rooms.
Are there many people who have access to the studio at night?
Only our key talent and some of the floor managers have access. And of course, myself and Lillian. But we've often got projects going on around the clock. Post-production work and set design, to name a few.
Can I have a list of everyone who's been in the studio at night?
That's confidential.
Do you have surveillance video of the hallways, perhaps?
We're looking into that. Listen, we run a studio down here, not a prison. Sometimes staffers borrow the security videos when they run out. We've addressed this problem before, and I can guarantee it won't happen again. Hold on a second. No, tell him I'll call him. Don't put him on hold, I'll call him. What else do you need, Nancy? Hello?
Who takes care of the teleprompter?
Well, in theory, it's the lead scriptwriter's job to manage that part of production. But a lot of actors, especially Mattie, like to edit their script to add emphasis or direction.
Is Miss Strathhorn the lead scriptwriter?
No, not at all. She's always submitting scripts and story ideas to our writers, but they never go anywhere.
Does the studio have any audio mixing equipment?
Of course we do. We have a whole department set up for audio recording. And we also have some mixers in the control room.
Do you think I can see them sometime?
We're very busy with production right now, and we're no longer conducting tours. If you... hold on. No! Get someone else for that. We need to have someone on standby if he decides to leave. Sorry about that, Nancy. Any other questions?
Who else has access to the staff offices?
The usual people. Janitors, some assistants, Millie, security. Now, is there anything else you need to ask of me? I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Well, thank you for your help in this matter, Mr. Pappas. Goodbye.
Yes, well, thanks again for your brave efforts today. Goodbye.
All right. So, lots of things to talk about with Pappas. Now, like I mentioned before, we have a new note from Mattie, and now it's George we need to call. So let's give George a call.
Florence.
Hi, George. It's Nancy.
Nancy, how are you? Are you still in Florida? Did you ever solve that case you were working on?
That case is solved. You're not going to believe this, but I'm now in New York on another case.
Wow. From the palm trees of Florida to the streets of New York City, Nancy Drew is on the case. What is it this time? Missing jewels? International spy ring? Maybe a ghost or two?
Stop teasing, George. Nothing as exciting as a haunting, but something a bit more serious. Someone is sending death threats to the soap star Rick Arlen.
You're kidding! Don't tell Bess that. She'll want to fly out there and save him. She absolutely adores Rick Arlen. So, have you met any of those other daytime superstars?
Well, I have met Mattie Jensen. In fact, I'm staying with her. She's a friend of Aunt Eloise.
Really? I like Mattie Jensen. Is she as nice in real life as she is on screen? I always heard soap stars can be a bit temperamental.
She's nice, but I never get to see her because she's so busy. So, what's new with you these days?
I'm starting to train for the annual River Heights Marathon next month. But tell me more about your new case. What have you found out so far?
Rick was almost killed by a falling Klieg light.
Oh my gosh! Is he all right? Was it an accident?
He's okay, but it barely missed him.
Have you searched the area? Maybe the light was sabotaged to fall.
I'm certain that it was. I found a light clamp on stage that looks as if it had been sawed through.
That pretty much narrows your suspects down to someone in the studio. This had to be an inside job.
I'm officially an extra on the set, but there's not much to do.
Not much to do? I bet it'd take you weeks to discover all of the nooks and crannies in that studio. Who knows? Maybe you'll stumble upon some hidden passageways. TV studios are always full of them.
Talk to you later.
Good luck and be careful.
All right, so that's George. And I love in this game that visiting with your friends on the phone, they do give you little hints and tips here and there, but you can't ask them for hints and tips. Ned pointed out that the typewriter was significant, which we found out when we were in the prop room. And then George just talked about how it had to have been an inside job, which is another little clue. So something important to note here on the desk, if we pick it up. It says, due to the recent events concerning safety on set, we will begin implementing additional security measures. Even after I close the set to visitors, I have found friends and family of various staff members wandering around the backstage. Surprisingly, they all knew the talent entrance code, but I don't remember ever signing them on with the studio. The side entry code has now been changed to 3689. Keep this number confidential. If I find that anyone has given out this code to non-authorized personnel, I'll dock your pay. William Pappas. All right, so now we have that code. Let's go snoop and let's do a little nighttime snooping. All right, so let's go use this code.
Taxi!
Where can I take you today, miss?
1999 Broadway, please.
And do some snooping when no one else is there. So we are there at 8 o'clock. Building is empty. So no one will be able to disturb us. Okay, so here we go. We can use our card to break into Rick and Maddie's rooms, but we have everything that we need from those areas, so I'm not going to do that right now. But what we are going to do is break into Lillian's office. Okay, so here we have Lillian's office. We can snoop around in here for lots of important things to see in here. So actually I'm going to wait to look at that. Let's start over here. So if we look over here, there is a note from William Pappas from the 13th, which was the first day of the game. It says there's been a number of incidents dealing with the compromising of secret codes. Previous methods of dealing with this problem have failed to rectify the situation. I'm putting a stop to this. The bitter truth is some employee, I'd hate to think who, full of revenge on a date with disaster, is leaking these codes to the general public. I'm forced to take drastic actions. This is not some hoax. From this point forward, it is required by decree from Miss Strathorn to sign out a password decoder card which will change weekly. It is unfortunate that one reckless person has tainted an otherwise superb crew. A word of warning. If a member of this studio is caught sharing sensitive company information of any kind to unauthorized people, he or she will be immediately terminated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And then you'll notice some of these words are italicized, and we have to read them this way. So it says, a bitter hoax tainted with hate is a secret revenge from a previous date. So what that means is someone went on a date with Rick at one point a while back, and they got their revenge by sending him some nasty chocolates. Interesting. All right, another fun little Easter egg here. Mystery game, or mystery game. And here we have hers logo again. We're going to go up here. Anger control. What is this book doing in Lillian's office? She's a ray of sunshine. She's not angry a day in her life. She's the most calm and personable person in this entire game. Oh, I'm just kidding. All right, so there we go. We have some personal files. All right, and I feel like, was there something over here? I'm trying to remember. Oh, here we have the missing maracas. And we have a whole bunch of tapes. All right, I feel like there was something else we were supposed to see. Maybe it's not over there. All right, so here we have her desk. We can pick up this pencil. And there is a number for Suppressa Chocolates, which is the place that those gross chocolates to Rick were from. Interesting. Right, and here we have a printer, and we have a date planner here. Moira Cunningham, another puzzle there. Just making sure I didn't miss anything here before we take a look at the computer. All right, so for the computer, how we're going to get into this, I'm actually going to put the floppy disk in now. There we go. All right, so what we are going to do is we are going to use Millie's username and password, and that will get us into the computer. All right, and we're in. Okay, so we'll be able to look up some employee ID number. We don't have that yet, though. We have some studio maintenance. Okay, and here we can read what was on the floppy disk in that anger management book. It says, Rick, you had no right to do that to me last night, and you deserved what you got. How could you just leave me like that with no warning, no discussion? Why am I getting the feeling that I've been used by you, just like you've used everyone else in this town to get what you want? Now I hear that you're going out to LA for Jocelyn's birthday party. How convenient for you. You used me to meet her, and now you're on her A-list. Do you know how humiliating it will be for me to show up there with everyone knowing about our breakup? You told me when we first started to date that our relationship was different. Why is this not true anymore? Watch your back, Rick. One of these days, your lies will catch up with you, and you'll find that there's no one left to use. And don't come to me for any more favors. Once burned, twice shy. So Lillian wrote a very nasty post-breakup note to Rick. So Lillian and Rick also dated. Interesting. All right, and we can print something off. All right, that's done. We'll grab that in a second. Okay, so this is important here. It's important to note that all these different passwords are here for all these different areas in the studio. What we need, though, is the password for the control room, which is actor. Remember that. We're going to take a look at that in a moment. Okay, and here we have some emails. So this is from Pat in makeup to Millie. It says, we're trying to locate a beard and mustache ensemble, and we're wondering if you might have it in the prop room. We have a email from Pappas. Randy Hendricks from marketing will sponsor a meeting to discuss last season's ratings and potential strategies. This is the third season in a row where our overall ratings have dropped by unacceptable margins. It's imperative that we meet on this issue to discuss methods of improving our performance. So Light of Our Love is not doing well, ratings-wise. Not well at all. All right, then we have a note from the head writer to Millie. It says, thank you for your script submissions for our upcoming season. It is encouraging to see that the spirit of cooperation is alive and well in Worldwide, and I welcome your contributions. However, our staff of scriptwriters has already outlined and completed scripts for the next season. Everyone was very impressed by your level of creativity, but we believe that your talent would be wasted on something as mundane as scripts. Scriptwriting is more of a trade than an art, and a gifted writer like yourself should aspire to something higher. Please let me know if I can provide you with any assistance in finding a literary agent or book publisher. I will be more than happy to help out. I really think your talent would flourish as published works. So in other words, Millie has been submitting script ideas to the writer's room, and very nicely, very professionally, she was told they're not interested. All right, we have a note from Lillian about the locks. And she sent it to Millie and Pappas. It says, is there any other way we can implement better control of the security of codes and locks on set? I understand the need for keeping them safe, but I find the methods highly irregular and confusing. For example, I am constantly losing my decoder for the control room lock code. Is there any way we can store the codes on the computer? Surely they must be more safe on the computer than hiding important keys and codes all around the studio. Please advise. So Lillian is not a fan of the lock system. We have one more. It was sent on the day the game started. Oh, nope, just kidding. Haha. It was a month before. It was on the 10th. And it's about Rick. All right, confidential inter-office memo to Millie and Bill Pappas. I really feel the need to discuss Rick Arlen's attitude on set. I know he's Worldwide Broadcasting's highest rated star, but I'm finding him more and more difficult to work with. He's constantly late, he's ill-prepared, he's rude to the production crew, and he ignores my direction. You know that this is not the first time this has happened. When I first came on board with Worldwide Broadcasting, you guaranteed that neither you nor the board would interfere with my directing. But now I'm getting micromanaged by an actor who has no experience or talent in this field. This cannot continue. It is eroding my control over production and encouraging others to question my judgment. Let's discuss. So Lillian was definitely having issues with Rick. It's hard to tell if this is before or after they broke up. I'm assuming it was after. And here in the trash, we have a redacted script. But I think it is really cool here that we have Blackmore Mansion, which is another fun little Easter egg towards Blackmore Manor. There's really a lot of different little snippets that are from Blackmore. I never really realized that until I paid close attention to it. That's really cool. All right, and here we have some more set blocking. Super cool. And we can look in here. Thought there was something else we could look at in here. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, castor oil. Oh, wait a second. Castor oil? You know, I've heard about this stuff. It makes things taste bad. Huh. My thinly veiled hints at some things. All right, so here we have a confidential memo. It is the security log for November, all about Rick Arlen. So let's take a look at this here. It says on October 26th, Mr. Arlen complains about receiving anonymous threats, but he refuses to register complaint with postal authorities. The next day, on October 27th, he reports receiving anonymous threats, refuses to register complaint. On October 29th, he receives a threat, doesn't register complaint. October 31st, he receives an anonymous threat listing his home address and personal activities of prior night. Mr. Arlen registers complaint. November 2nd, receives more threats and registers complaint. That same day, on the 2nd, he receives a threatening phone call on personal cell phone and he registers a complaint. November 5th, the teleprompter is sabotaged to display a death threat against Mr. Arlen. He registers complaint. We knew about that. Mattie told us about that. Let's see here. November 6th, threatening note and watch found in Mr. Arlen's dressing room. Registers complaint, and we found that. We found the broken watch. On the same day, he receives chocolates tainted with harmless but foul-tasting element found in Mr. Arlen's dressing room. So those are those poisoned chocolates. November 13th, that's the day this game starts. Poorly clamped Klieg light falls on stage. Mr. Arlen registers complaint. And the following day, November 14th, dismantled bomb is set up in Mr. Arlen's dressing room. Temporary employee diffuses. Government agencies notified for investigation. So, lots of things have been going on. Very, very interesting. All right. Trying to make sure we don't miss anything in here because I feel like we have missed something. Okay, maybe it's this. Nope, it's not. It's world's best clear rubber cement. There it is. Okay, this is what I was looking for. All right, how do I love thee? But it's been crossed out. Wait a second. This is that note that came with the chocolates that we found in Rick's dressing room. So that combined with the phone number for the Suppressa chocolates, the chocolates were sent by Lillian. Interesting. And that is, I want to point out, completely optional. You do not need to find that. You do not need to uncover that. It will not hinder progress in the game, but it does give you a clearer picture on kind of some of the plot in this story. All right, so here we have that decoder key that Lillian was complaining about. If you think back to the passwords that we found on the computer, we have to use this key to enter the code that will let us into the control room in the soundstage area. So this is a pig pen cipher. So you find the letter that you want to use, and then you're going to use that shape that corresponds with that letter. So this would be a A, this would be a C, you have a T with a dot, an O with a dot, and an R. This is another code that I use in my classroom quite a bit. The kids enjoy it. Or at least I think they do. They don't complain about it, so I'm assuming they like it. All right, so that is everything that we needed in there for now. So now that we have that password, let's get in to this area. Let's get up into the control room and let's do some sleuthing up there.
I need something to make this work.
Nancy, I can never get that to work the first try. I do not know why. I am convinced it is absolutely a superpower without fail. Okay, so let's go over here. We have a billing invoice. Come on. Like I said, navigation in here is so clunky. They did eventually fix that problem in later games. Okay, so let's see here. We need a C-T-O-R. And we're in. All right, so lots of different things to do in here. We're going to start over here. We're going to use that key we got from the clock. And it is trapdoor control power. We're going to turn that on. We have a whole bunch of different screens and everything like that. Okay, so here is some sound mixing. We can press some of these buttons. It has
Stay tuned for Light of Our Love.
a bunch of different sound effects.
We interrupt this program to bring you the following.
I love that that specific sound effect is in there. Like, what is happening on this soap opera that it sounds like an alien battle? Like, I need to know what this plot point is. It's fantastic. And it goes on for forever also. Alright. So, yeah. Lots of fun things to investigate here. Alright, so there we go. There's that. And this is the sound mixing equipment that Nancy asked Pappas about on the phone. I'm not going to use it because it makes my computer lag horrendously bad when I put the tape in. So I'm not going to mess with it. But you can put this cassette tape into the program and you can mess with the volumes and the levels. You can't unmask the voice super well. If you know what you're listening to it, or what you're listening for, excuse me, it is relatively apparent, but the big takeaway for that one is you can hear a lot of traffic in the background. But like I said, it makes my computer lag horrendously. I'm not going to make you sit through that. All right, and one other thing we need to take a look at, it is right here. We're going to pick up that security tape. Okay, so now that we turned on the power over there, we are going to go back to that area that we couldn't do anything in it because we couldn't see part of it. Once we navigate over there. All right, here we are. Okay, so now that we flip that switch, if we open this up, you will see, we can now see this. So we can see the area and the place that we need to put these levers in order to get that to work. All right, so now the lift is powered. So we're gonna go back here and now we can hop on and go for a ride. All right. So here we are below the set. And I think it's really fun to note also that George mentioned all the little hidden nooks and crannies in the studio, alluding to this spot. So let's see where this goes. Okay, so
It's locked.
you should be able to recognize this area here a little bit. We are in the locked area of the prop room that we couldn't get to. Now we're on the other side of this door. So let's take a look here. We have some lost and found pieces, but what's really important to note is this shirt. Notice the color, notice the pattern, notice it is torn. The person that sabotaged the light that almost landed on Rick was wearing this shirt. And there's something in the pocket here. Let's take a peek. Owen Spader, Powers Talent, Worldwide Broadcasting. Interesting. So Owen Spader was apparently wearing this shirt that just happens to be torn and a scrap was found where a light was sabotaged. Interesting. Now here we have his ID number, 318-67-2001. What we can do now is we can take that ID number and plug it into the computer in Lillian's office and get some more information on Owen Spader. Let's go. I know I said it once, but I am going to say it again. I do greatly enjoy the music in this game. I think it does wonders for the overall ambiance of the game, the overall vibe. I think it just works. It really, really does. I greatly enjoy it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna hop back onto this computer and we're going to type in Owen's employee ID number. Let's do it. Okay, and his password, or his ID, I should say, 318-67-2001, 318-67-1. All right, here we go.
It looks like Owen was on the set every time something happened to Rick.
Okay, so Owen was there every time something happened to Rick. That is incredibly incriminating. I also want to point out something that I just noticed. I don't know if anyone else has ever noticed this before, but if you look at his ID number, this ID number is different from the ID number for what we just typed in. His ID number that we just typed in was 318-67-2001, and this is 523-68-2001. Interesting. And I just noticed that. I don't know if it's really anything significant or not, but that is, interesting. I love no matter how many times you play these games, you can always notice something new. I mean, I have played this game so many times because it is one of my favorites. And yeah, it's amazing what you can discover for sure. Okay, so now we know that Spader was in the building when all that stuff happened to Rick. We now can, I'm really curious for what's on this tape. So let's go back to Maddie's house.
Hey, taxi!
Where to, lady?
7226 Lexington Avenue, please.
On my way.
Go to Maddie's house and check this out. Okay, so we need the keys. And let's see what's on this tape. I love this living room area at night. It is so cozy and wonderful. Fireplaces are definitely my aesthetic, for sure. All right, and we want the red tape. Okay, so here we can see some security footage. There is someone walking down the hallway, definitely not suspiciously. It is super subtle. Nothing funny to see there whatsoever. That's how everyone walks, isn't it? Like, yeah. All right, and here we see someone else walking down the hall, and this person looks vaguely familiar, doesn't it? I'm no expert, but I think that looks like the renowned talent agent that we're working with. So I think it's time we snoop around in Dwayne Power's office. Let's do it.
Taxi!
Yeah, what's the address?
318 West 10th Street, please.
You got it.
All right, so here we are, and this is another headphone volume warning. Turn it down, take your headphones out, do what you have to do if you appreciate having your eardrums intact. We will be fine once we get in the building, but for whatever reason, oof, it's a lot. All right, here we go.
It's about time you showed up. I've been waiting 45 minutes for that pizza.
Okay, your eardrums are safe. We're good. Okay, so no one answered. It's empty. Let's investigate. Okay, so more props to HerInteractive, which honestly, they deserve, I think, way more credit than they get. Huge shout out to them. All of the love and positivity sent their way. Like, oh my gosh, these games are so great. But they did such a fantastic job. Side note, we want this. They did such a fantastic job of setting up Dwayne's office to look very, very shabby. Like, this absolutely lines up with what Lillian said on how they don't really use this talent agency for filling in parts on the show. And that's very apparent. I mean, it is very sad. It's very ill-kept. It paints a very, very strong picture as to financially how Dwayne Powers and his talent agency is doing. And we will get a very clear picture of just how bleak things are here in a moment. But for now, what's in store now for WWB Studios? Rick Arlen leaving daytime. Rick Arlen, Worldwide's leading daytime actor, may be in the running to play the lead role in Jocelyn Quince's upcoming thriller Digit. WWB has refused any comment on this development, but Arlen's agency has hinted that its client is ready to break his contract with Worldwide Broadcasting. Arlen's relationship with the New York-based network has always been strained, with both sides unhappy with the terms of his contract. A lawsuit was filed against Arlen last year for breach of agreement after his brief stint with PDM Studios. However, sources say that Arlen's agency is planning to challenge the merits of the contract with new evidence that has recently surfaced. So, something interesting to point out, if you think back to the very nasty note that Lillian wrote to Rick, she mentioned how he used her to become friends with a Jocelyn. So we can assume that it is this Jocelyn, Jocelyn Quince, who is going to be directing an upcoming thriller. So did Rick just use Lillian to increase his overall status in the acting community? It would definitely explain why Lillian hates him so much. All right, and here we have musical theater company presents The Angry Man. Interesting. Wonder if Lillian went to the production of The Angry Woman. I'm sorry. All right, so let's explore some more over here. So over here in this bookshelf here, we have English, French love phrases. Ooh la la. All right, so here we have various phrases in the English translation and then the French translation. But if you look closely at this, we have seen some of these phrases before. We absolutely have. Some of these were included in that little love note that we found in Mattie's room, that everything was written in French. So that note was from Dwayne? Interesting. I must admit, all of the little love drama that's in this game is really, really something else. They went the extra mile for it, and I love it so much. All right, so here we have an extra doorknob. That's interesting. Who just carries around a random doorknob? Points at doorknob in our inventory. All right. Here we have an airline ticket from New York to Rio de Janeiro. Interesting. Only $35 for an airline ticket? What? Spirit gum adhesive. I don't know if that plane ticket is to allude to the fact that he got a really cheap seat, or if it's just to show how cheap it was to fly in 1999. I'm not quite sure. All right, and here we have some phone numbers and contact information for some of the higher ups at Worldwide Broadcasting. We have Bill Pappas and Millie and Lillian. And we have another little cipher here. This one is a little bit different. This is an @bash cipher. And what that means is you have the alphabet A to Z going one way, and then you run it Z to A. So you run it backwards. So A equals Z, B equals Y, on and on and on. And then you flip-flop and swap the letters. And that will give you a little message. But also something that is important to note here, we have this drawing here. This looks like a tape recorder and some numbers and lines. You know, this looks very incriminating. I feel like we have seen this before somewhere. I wonder where that was. All right, over here have he lies. What? Throwback to when I was a kid and we would use our calculators to write all sorts of things. All right, and here we have his little Rolodex. Or Filofax, I should say, not Rolodex. Whatever it's called. I may be a 90s kid, but I don't know what this stuff's called. All right, and a little note, even though revenge should be sweet, jealous acts will end in defeat. Interesting. All right, and now we're going to use the code that we found over on that business card while I was busy yapping. And we are going to unlock this briefcase. Let's do it. So the first numbers were 4377. Over here, it is 6630. All right, and we're in. So we have some keys. A notice of eviction. This is a notice of eviction from the property located at 318 West 10th Street, Suite 101, which is where his office is. You are hereby allowed 10 days from the date of this notice to make payment in full directly with this office of the delinquent amount of overdue rent, or you may file directly with this office a written appeal set forth in detail the reasons why this action should not be taken. If your payment or notice of appeal is not received within 10 days from the date on this notice, seizure and removal of your property will follow immediately per New York statutes annotated section 51-1 36B 1978 comp. Thank you for your cooperation, Michael Donnelly, attorney at law. So, this business is not doing well. He got a notice of eviction. He needs to pay what he is delinquent, or he is going to be kicked out, which is not good. Not good at all. Really, really shows us just how bleak things are for Dwayne and his talent agency. But here we have a check from Mattie Jensen, written out November 13th, the day this game started, for $5,000 as a loan. So Mattie must be aware of just how bleak things are, and she is trying to help Dwayne out. Which I think also lends credibility to what Mattie said about how she's friends with Dwayne. This is not just a working relationship. This is also a friendship. All right, so here we have some client files. We have Maddie's folder. A headshot here of her. Oops. And she has done numerous shows in the theater, but what I personally love is what she has listed as her skills. So she's skilled in Elizabethan drama, dialects, acrobatics, gymnastics, stage fighting, skin diving, kickboxing, ninja throwing stars, good with children and animals, kite flying, and my personal favorite, lizard wrangling. I don't know why I picture her with like a little cowboy hat and a lasso, like lassoing lizards. I have absolutely no idea where, how, or why that skill would come in handy, but the things we put on resumes to get hired, man. My goodness. All right. So that's Maddie's folder. And here we have Rick Arlen, but we can see that his actual first name is Arbertusky, which I'll touch more on that later. I don't want to give anything away, but there is a interesting little tidbit about that. Okay, so he did some theater shows, film, commercials. That same headshot we've seen in a couple different places. It is canceled, meaning he no longer works at the agency. I do think it's funny, though, that for emergency contact, name and relation, doctor. What's my mother going to do? I feel like that's very on brand for how he would respond to that. And there's a file on us. How cool is that? It's not filled out, though. I remember when I first played this game when I was a lot younger, I was so disappointed that we did not get to fill this out. I do not know what 11-year-old me thought I was going to put in for all of that information, but I was very upset that we didn't get to do it. All right, and our last folder, probably the most important, is Owen Spader's. So Owen W. Spader, 266 Bamboozle Drive. Bamboozle, huh? New York, New York. Has a phone number, 555-6275. You know, I've never actually tried calling that number before. I'm kind of curious if it actually works. Here, give me a second. Normally I am I write everything down kind of girl, but my pencil is not currently functioning, and I am not gonna go grab a new one because of course it's an old school one. What was I thinking? So, okay, got a picture of that. We'll try that. I don't know if it works. I've never tried it, but we'll give it a go. All right, so let's see here. He does a lot of freelance work, behind the scenes stuff, camera operator. Did some work in theater at the Belfry Theater, which is the theater that both Rick and Mattie did some shows in. All right. That's pretty much it. A nasty note from Joan Jensen, aka Mattie's mother. Please read the attached article and explain to me why my daughter was not invited to this panel. Mattie Jensen is a household name and an excellent role model for girls. You, on the other hand, are a horrible example of a talent agent. Also, why is it that Rick Arlen has better press coverage than Mattie does? We both know that Mattie is the real star of the show. Call me and let me know what we should do about this. Good gracious. So, nasty note from Mattie's mom. And a form from Dwayne to another talent agency trying to refer this actress. Interesting. All right, I think that is pretty much everything we can see in here. So, lots of things to think about, digest, process. Wow.
Hey, taxi!
Where to, lady?
7226 Lexington Avenue, please.
On my way.
So yeah, Dwayne's company is not doing good whatsoever. So, there is a very mysterious noise happening here right now. And if we look on the chair, for Nancy Drew. What could this mysterious ticking be? Just an alarm clock. We're okay. No worries. Also, another thing I want to point out here with this alarm clock, it is set to 5 minutes to midnight, which is also the same time that that broken watch that was sent to Rick Arlen was set to. I don't know if that is significant or not, but it is interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, someone sent us a clock, probably to scare us, and there is a note. This is your final warning, Nancy Drew. You better mind your own business and go back to your little life in River Heights. I mean it. Leave town now, or next time you won't be so lucky. So someone knows that Nancy is on to them in a big way. All right. And really, that's all we can do right now. So let's get some sleep and start our last day. Let's do it. All right. Day 3. Eventually, you are supposed to get a note that says that Bess called. I don't know if we're going to get that in this playthrough, though. I have kind of booked it through pretty quickly. All right. And actually, okay, so what we need to do, we need to note this phone number here, and let's make some phone calls. Because now we know that Spader does work for Powers Talent, which means that Dwayne Powers should have some information for us. So let's call him and see if he has anything to tell us. Now, I mentioned before that there were some other numbers that we were going to try out. So let's do that now. I did write down Rick's phone number. I don't know if it's going to work, but we can give it a try. I don't normally do a lot of phone calls in the games, but for y'all, I will.
We're sorry. Your call.
Okay, so Rick's number does not work. but maybe it's supposed to be that way. Maybe we're supposed to assume that he got his number changed because of the threatening phone calls. That may be a very, very big reach on my part, but just a theory. All right, so now let's call Suppressa Chocolates.
Thank you for calling Suppressa Chocolates, where we make chocolates to die for. We're open every day from 8 to 5 and located on the corner of Sutton and Main.
Chocolates to die for, eh? All right, and now let's see if we can call Owen Spader. Like I said, I genuinely do not know if this will work, but we'll give it a try. No time like the present to give it a shot, right?
Sorry, your call cannot be completed as...
So it does not work. Okay, we'll do one for sure though that we do know it works. Let's call Dwayne.
Powers Agency, how may I help you?
Hi, Mr. Powers. It's Nancy Drew.
Ah, Ms. Drew. Mattie told me all about the bomb you defused. What a stroke of luck you were passing by. With Rick's dressing room right next to Mattie's, she could have gotten killed.
I think Rick was in more danger than Mattie.
It's clear to me that he's setting this whole thing up to generate publicity for his grand entrance into the film world. My only fear is that some poor bystander like Mattie will get hurt.
That's a pretty harsh statement.
Show business is a very harsh world, Ms. Drew. Look at me. I've studied every aspect of acting, the classics, dialects, stage combat, everything. I was underrated and underappreciated, but brilliant. And yet a phony like Rick Arlen is a success, and here I am, a talent agent. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I still harbor regrets about not pursuing my acting career further. My only point is that Rick has every reason to fake these so-called threats against himself. He has yet to suffer any harm from them, but the publicity and attention has served him well.
Have you met the prop master at Worldwide? She seems rather strange.
Yes, I've met Millie once or twice. She's very eccentric. Actually owns a studio, but chooses to stay locked up in that prop room of hers. Rumor has it that she's trying to write Rick Arlen out of the show.
I'm afraid that I'm not making a very good impression on Lillian. She doesn't seem to like me very much.
I don't see why she would. Lillian is very professional, though I think she doesn't care for Mattie very much.
Why doesn't she like Mattie?
I'm not sure, but without a doubt it has something to do with Rick. He enjoys creating trouble.
How does he enjoy creating trouble?
When I worked with Rick at the Belfry, he was always playing off of people's weaknesses, starting rumors and fights. He always seemed to prey on the most gullible people.
Okay, so something to note there. Dwayne references the Belfry, which is the same theater that both Rick and Mattie worked at, but also Owen Spader. Interesting.
Do you have many employees working for you at Worldwide?
Only two. You and Mattie. Oh yes, and a temporary stagehand. It's been difficult finding adequate talent these days.
Do you know where I can find this stagehand? I haven't seen him around.
I'm not sure when he's scheduled to work next.
What do you make of these threats against Rick? Mattie's very concerned about them.
I don't believe them. Rick was always known for his odd sense of humor and practical jokes. Unfortunately, Mattie always fell for them, just like she's doing now.
The producer seems pretty upset lately. He's always yelling.
Oh, he's just blowing off steam. Rick's recent threats about leaving the show have put an undue amount of pressure on him. Upper management seems to fear that the ratings will fall if Rick leaves. Although I really can't picture that since Mattie is the real star of Light of Our Love.
Well, I should get back to the set. Thanks for your help.
Feel free to contact me if you need additional assistance. Goodbye.
Okay, so very interesting conversation there with Dwayne. He thinks that all of these notes are a hoax. Rick is making them all up.
Taxi!
Where can I take you today, miss?
1999 Broadway, please.
And he thinks Rick is the reason why Lillian does not like Mattie.
Can I help you?
Hello, here's my pass.
Hello, Ms. Drew. Thank you. You may proceed.
All right, so let's visit with some characters before we hop into the end game.
It's open. Oh, Nancy, I'm so glad that you're okay. Everyone's been talking about that bomb scare. Rick's still shrugging it off, but I can tell he's upset about it.
Tell me, do you know someone by the name of Owen Spader?
No, that doesn't ring a bell. Wait, no. No, I'm pretty good at names, but I've never heard of him.
Well, I'll see you later, Mattie.
Yeah, I should get back to learning my lines for tomorrow. Good luck.
Entrez-vous. My hero, Nancy Drew. You know, according to ancient tradition, if someone saves your life, you should serve them for the rest of your life. So, what can I do for you, young lady? Your wish is my command.
Yeah, right. Well, you can tell me if you've noticed any suspicious characters around your dressing room lately.
Yes, I have. They're named Agent Harris, Officer Josewitz, and Detective Bonnet. It appears I've been quite a celebrity with the local authorities. Hey, I hear Detective Beach is looking for a new star. Do you think I should do some research with my new friends to land the part?
Tell me, Rick, do you know a guy by the name of Owen Spader?
Yeah, I know Owen. He was with the Beekman Theater, wasn't he? Yeah, he's kind of short and stocky. Oh, don't tell me you're seeing him. Don't break my heart, love.
What is the story with the prop master?
Old Millie Strathorn, heir to the worldwide broadcasting fortune. She's great, except for the fact that she's never liked me. She thinks I'm too big for my britches, and that I wouldn't know a good thing if it came up to me and stuck its finger in my nose.
Can I ask your advice? Dwayne Powers is my agent. He's pretty good, isn't he?
Dwayne's a loser, babe. Don't tell me he's representing you.
Is that so bad? He represents Mattie.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Mattie hangs on to Dwayne like my Aunt Mimi hangs on to cats and old newspapers.
Listen, I gotta go, Rick. Be careful, okay?
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella. All right, so that was Rick and Mattie. And no, I'm not going to say anything. I don't know if I did it correctly, so there may be something interesting happening here shortly.
It's open! Why, hello! I hear you've become quite the celebrity, saving Rory Dunner from those diabolical traps set by that cold-blooded scoundrel Yuri. Thank goodness you had my wire cutters, else you would have been blown all the way to Bakersfield.
Don't you mean Rick Arlen? And who is Yuri?
No, I mean Rory Danner, young lady. Yuri is Rory's evil twin. He's always trying to bump off Rory. With his brother out of the way, Yuri thinks he'll have a clear shot at Serena. I've been trying to help him ever since Rory showed up in Jackson's Wharf. That Rory Danner needs to be taught a lesson.
It must be wonderful to work with Rick Arlen. Is he really that exciting in real life as he is on stage?
Who? Rick Arlen? I never heard of him. You don't mean Rory Danner, do you, dear? He is a no-good, good-for-nothing, do-nothing, if you ask me. Oh, he's been a troublemaker ever since he's got here. What that man needs is a good swift kick and a you-know-what, causing poor Serena all that grief with his scampering around.
Do you know where I can find Owen Spader? He's a stagehand, I believe.
Good luck finding him. I've yet to meet him face to face, even though he signs out props all of the time.
I should get back to the set. Goodbye.
Don't take any wooden nickels, young lady.
Don't take any wooden nickels. My sister and I would say that to each other all the time when we were kids. All right, and Lillian.
Well, well, well. I see our local hero has shown up for work. Not only can she waste everyone's time with prying questions, but she can find the time to save Rick from being blown to smithereens.
Well, can you tell me something about Owen Spader?
No, I can't tell you something about Owen Spader. Why should I? It's none of your business.
Okay, so I did do this correctly. You can get a game over sequence here. What you have to do is you have to find the note that goes along with the chocolates in Rick's dressing room, which is actually pretty easy to miss. You have to call Suppress the Chocolates, and you have to find that crumpled up note in Lillian's wastebasket. If you do all of that, it unlocks this conversation piece. Let's check it out.
Lillian, I have reason to believe you're the one threatening Rick. I know for a fact you sent him those chocolates.
Is that so? Well, I have every reason to kick you off this set. Where do you get off telling me what you think? I'll be calling your agent to let him know we no longer require your services. Get out of my office.
Oh, I guess it isn't a game over sequence, but you can get yelled at. So yeah, how cool is that? I don't know if I've ever unlocked that before. I don't remember, but it's interesting. So basically what we just did, we got confirmation the chocolates were definitely Lillian. They were definitely Lillian. All right, so now let's go back to Maddie's apartment, and if we did this correctly, it is going to start our endgame sequence. Let's do it.
Hey, taxi! Where to, lady?
7226 Lexington Avenue, please.
On my way.
There it is.
Hello? I don't have much time to explain. Can you meet me at the studio later tonight? I know you won't have any trouble getting in.
All right. So if you have done everything correctly, you've checked everything off of your list, all that good stuff, you get a note from Lillian, and now we are officially in the end game. So lots of different motives to kind of pick through a little bit, right? So we have Lillian, who hates Rick because he used her to get introduced to all of the big names, and once he was done using her, he broke up with her and he humiliated her. So that's definitely a very solid motive. Mattie, they dated, they broke up, could be kind of one of those scorned lover situations, no different than the situation with Lillian. And it's very apparent that Mattie wanted to get back together with Rick based off of that letter that we saw in her desk. So could her motive be she wanted him back, but he wasn't interested? Then there's Bill Pappas. I mean, this is his lead actor on the show that's talking about breaking his contract and leaving. The studio's already doing badly. It had low ratings for the past 3 seasons. Could it be motive for him to get back at Rick because it could spell doom for the studio if he leaves? Then we have Millie Strathorn. Lovable, slightly senile Millie, who is not a fan of Rory Danners and has been trying to write him off of the show for a very long time. Could she be the one that's doing all of this to Rick? And then last but not... Oh, wait, no. Just kidding. We have 2 more. And then could it be Owen, the stagehand that worked with him multiple times? We have all of that evidence that it was him that, sabotaged the Klieg light and everything like that. And he was on set every day. Something happened to Rick. Pretty incriminating. And then there's Dwayne, who has not hid his distaste for Rick in the slightest. He's in love with Mattie. Mattie loves Rick. I mean, really, we have quite the soap opera love triangle, square, pentagon, whatever shape you want to use. I mean, his hatred for Rick is obvious. Could it be him? Let's find out. It's time to find out.
Taxi!
Where can I take you today, miss?
1999 Broadway, please.
All right, so here we are at WWB. We're going to go in through the side entrance again. And we are supposed to meet Lillian. Now, there's one thing that I forgot to point out. It's not a big deal, but I do want to point it out, especially since I kind of mentioned it a little earlier from Millie for kind of one of her potential motives. I said that she had been trying to write him out of the show for a number of years, and I didn't actually point this out when we looked at the typewriter. My bad. Sorry. But if you look at what is written, you can see that on this piece of paper, Millie was writing out a possible script suggestion that says that Rory Danner is accidentally poisoned to death from poorly placed rat poison. So she has been writing scripts and script ideas to write Rick Arlen off the show. So, like I said, it's not super important to see that, but I did want to point it out because it is interesting. All right, so when we go into this room, we are going to be at our culprit reveal. So if you want to let me know down in the comments below who you think the culprit is, by all means, go for it. You can drop your thoughts and all that good stuff, and I can't wait to read it. But let's do it. Let's finish this game.
I need something to make this work.
Every time.
I need something
I
to
see
make
our
this
Miss
work.
Snoop has shown up.
All right. So we can either be super aggressive with Lillian, or we can be a little bit more polite. Let's go the polite route.
Why did you ask me to come here?
You see, I've been doing my own investigation, and I kept on finding more and more things until I got a threatening letter yesterday.
Can I see it? Do you still have it?
Thinking of blackmail, my pet? Not if I get to you first. Do you really think you'll find out who I am? And here I thought you hated Rick as much as I do, but you're still in love with him. You're still sold on his stupid smile and good looks. A puppet disguised as an actor. That's what he is. A phony, a ladder climber. But he'll fall so far down no one will ever be able to find him again. And I'll push you down too, Lillian. Whatever is in store for Rick will be coming your way as well. So stop playing detective and pretend this never happened. You'll be much happier and more alive if you did.
Now do you believe me? Who could be doing this? You must know.
Okay, so now a mechanic in this game that I really, really do enjoy is you can accuse multiple characters in this game as the culprit. So we can accuse Lillian, we can accuse Rick, we can accuse Dwayne, we can accuse Mattie, we can accuse Millie, and we can accuse Pappas. So the reveal is a little bit different depending on who you select. There's two different ways you can approach this. You can either approach the person that you know did it, or you can purposefully pick a different person for a pretty dramatic reveal. I think for this one, let's accuse Rick. Yeah, let's do that.
I believe it was Rick himself.
I would never have thought it'd be Rick.
Once I came into the picture, Rick realized I'd see through his phony letter-writing campaign. His ego could never bear the thought of being caught red-handed, so he set out to force me off the case, even if it meant murder.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure it's...
Dwayne Powers.
It's him! Up in the control room! And he's locked us in!
Lillian, hide!
Why, hello, Ms. Drew. I only followed Lillian here, but I've trapped both of you. Your deaths will make a wonderful end to Act 1. Rick Arlen's death will be the climax to this little soap opera I've produced. I'm calling it One Death to Die.
Dwayne Powers. Ugh, I love this culprit reveal. This is so fantastic. All right, so yeah, it was Dwayne. Shocker, right? Didn't see it coming at all.
Dwayne, why? Why do you hate Rick so much? Mattie and Lillian have more reason to hate him than you do.
More reason than I? Rick Arlen has to die, and I'll tell you why. Because he killed me. He killed Dwayne Powers!
So, he's a couple light bulbs short of a chandelier.
So, you were behind this campaign of terror all along?
I wish I could take credit for it all. But it was really Rick who started it. He sent the first letters, probably to drum up publicity for his failing career. And Lillian, of course, was kind enough to supply him with the tainted chocolates. You see, Ms. Drew, everyone hates Rick. I'm doing the world a service by getting rid of him.
Okay, so something important to note there. Dwayne mentions that the first letters were actually sent by Rick himself. We'll talk more about that later, but that is very important to note.
Dwayne, this isn't a soap opera. You're dealing with real people.
Real life is a soap opera. You'll learn that. Or rather, you would have learned that had you lived.
Dwayne, there's still time to let us go. Please, don't do this.
Enough! Words, words, words! You will soon see that I am a man of action. I'll come down for the final close-up. I'm gonna write you two out of the script forever. So sorry about your short-lived career, Miss Drew.
All right. Let's do this.
Open up in there! Open up!
Hurry, Nancy!
All right, here we go.
Time's up! It's curtains for you, Miss Drew. What's going on in here? Hey, you! This is the guy we've been looking for.
I love that.
Congratulations, Nancy. You've solved the case.
Way to go, Ralph.
Forget about it.
Dwayne's in the right hands now. Case closed. Dear Bess, another mystery solved. Dwayne is now awaiting trial for his attempted murder and has publicly apologized for his crimes. Lillian has moved out to California and is directing her first film. But the best news is about Mattie and Rick. They finally decided to tie the knot. Well, as Serena and Rory. But who knows? Perhaps it'll rub off on them. There's always hope. Love, Nancy.
So there we have it. Case closed. All right, so lots to unpack here a little bit. It's super easy to miss some of this information, so I'm just going to kind of do a quick little summary for you, specifically about the threats that Rick received. So, like Dwayne mentioned, the first notes that Rick Arlen received were actually sent by Rick himself, and those were the ones that were cut out using the magazine letters. And it's important to note that his last name was Arbertusky, I believe. Yeah, I think it's Arbertusky, or something like that, because B.T. Kaiser is an anagram of Rick Arlen's actual last name. So those notes were sent by Rick himself to drum up publicity, to get attention, so that his name was easily recognizable and get all of that publicity before he makes his entrance into the film world. I don't know if this part is confirmed or not, but I have always kind of wondered if the headshot that is all scribbled out and written in lipstick that we find in Rick's dressing room, I've always wondered if that actually was Mattie, and that's why the lipstick was destroyed in her dressing room. I don't know if that's accurate or not. That's just kind of a little theory for me. So if anyone knows, feel free to let me know in the comments below. That's just my assumption. Lillian sent the tainted chocolates, and then the other threats that were written with the typewriter were the threats that Dwayne Powers sent to Rick. So looking at the security detail printout that we received, Rick did not report the initial threats against him because he was the one that was sending them. he started reporting them once he was getting threats by someone that was not him. Interesting, right? Lots to unpack. But all right, and this concludes my first YouTube playthrough of a Nancy Drew game. I want to thank all of you for sticking around to the very end with me for this. This was so much fun. I absolutely love these games so much, so getting to record playthroughs and share them with you and my little commentary and everything like that is a lot of fun, and it brings me a lot of joy, so thank you. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and that way you can see what other shenanigans I get up to on my YouTube channel. I also have a Instagram account that I have, just Sleuthy Teacher. That's where I post a bunch of Nancy Drew memes and other little funny shenanigans on there, so feel free to give me a follow over there if you would like. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it all up. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, stay sleuthy.